Hi there, Tracy from Kazadans Equestrian with this week's video, which is to learn all about the different B group vitamins. B group vitamins are quite common actually, and there's a lot that is said around what they can and can't do. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of information about the group of vitamin B vitamins, what they do, and whether or not your horse should be getting enough from its feed. Many of the vitamin Bs are actually created by the horse in their gut. So the microflora, bacteria in the stomach or in the digestive system, so these microbes create or synthesize most of the B group vitamins that the horse actually needs. The reason you hear vitamin B group or vitamin B complex is that there are a range that fit in the vitamin B category. B group vitamins usually contain B1, which is thiamine, B2, which is riboflavin, B3, which is niacin, B5, pantothenic acid, B6, pyridoxine, B7, the all-important biotin, B9, folate, and B12, cobalamin. So let's go through these really quickly and try and work out which ones the horse probably gets enough of themselves, which ones they make, which ones they don't, and when you may need to supplement and when you're just wasting your money. So B1 is thiamine. It's really important in creating the nutrients from food and turning it into energy for the horse. This is often associated with calming supplements or making your horse calmer. There's not a lot of scientific evidence in general around a lot of equine nutrition. So this is one of those where what we think is happening in the horse and what we can sometimes see anecdotally is that vitamin B1, if the horse is low in that, can sometimes cause the horse to be a little bit overexcitable. Do we know that for sure? No, but often it does seem to help some horses. In reality, we look at B1, the uses of B1, and we extrapolate that from a lot of human studies. We know a lot of our stress formula vitamins contain a lot of B group vitamins as well. But there's no real solid studies to tell us how much, when a horse needs, or any great detail like that. There is, however, a bit of anecdotal evidence to show that some of these B group vitamins will reduce stress in your horse if they're either at a deficient level or certainly not the optimum level for them. So B1 is produced by those microbes in the gut, so the horse does create some of its own vitamin B1. It's also found in cereals, cereal grain byproducts, protein supplements, and it's even found in brewer's yeast. So even though the horse manufactures this, it still doesn't manufacture enough to meet requirements. So it does need to get some vitamin B1 from its diet. But if you have any kind of well-balanced diet, your horse is likely to be getting enough. B2 is riboflavin, and again, this is used to convert the nutrients that you're giving from food into energy for the horse to use. This one is synthesized quite well in the gut of the horse, and a horse is unlikely to need specific supplementation for this, and it's found in lucerne and alfalfa, legumes, and also in clover grass. So if your horse is getting any of this, again, this may not be needed to be supplemented. B5, again, like many of the other B group vitamins, does help turn those nutrients from the food into energy. It's also involved in hormone production. I couldn't find anywhere where there was any deficiency or toxicity noted in the horse, and this again is a B group vitamin that is synthesized by the horse itself in its gut. B6, pyridoxine. Now this is involved with the enzymes that metabolize carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And although again, there's no real solid evidence for deficiency or toxicity of this, and it is synthesized by the horse's gut yet again, so there has been some indication that poor hoof quality can be assisted by B6. Now, Hoof quality is a whole nother topic on its own, and it doesn't only require B6, it requires a lot of other trace minerals and correct vitamin balance to go with it. But this could be one of those, as it is used to create keratin. Vitamin B7 is biotin, and we've all seen biotin supplements in our local feed store, I'm sure. Biotin's used to metabolize fats and carbohydrates, and it also regulates gene expression. Yeast, lucerne, soybean meal, these are all feed products that do contain quite a bit of biotin in them. This is one of the B group vitamins that has had studies to show that increased biotin in the diet has also shown an improvement in hoof quality. Of course, this was in a study where the horses were given 10 to 15 milligrams a day of biotin, but this was done for 10 months. And over this amount of time, they did notice an increase in the strength of the hoof wall. Most of us horse owners, though, are not willing to try one only supplement for 10 months to see if it's going to work. We tend to prefer to chuck everything we can at it, and certainly don't seem to be patient enough to wait that 10 months to see whether it did work or not. Not only that, but there are other studies to show that it did not improve hoof quality. So again, it's hard to know. B9 is folate, and folate is needed for amino acid metabolism. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, so it's quite important. And it's also used to help produce the red and white blood cells. Folate is normally supplied enough by a normal diet and the microbes, again, in the horse's gut synthesizing this vitamin. This and some other B vitamins are often used to supplement a horse that is in quite hard work, so under some sort of training stress, stabled, and has limited access to pasture. And sometimes these horses show a decreased appetite. So folate can sometimes assist in this. B12, cobalamin. It's vital for neurological function. It's needed to produce red blood cells and involved in the production of DNA. It is produced again in the gut by those industrious microbes that horses have, but it also needs cobalt to create this vitamin. And again, it is often supplemented to horses that are under some kind of training stress, normally stable, not much access to fresh forage or pasture. Sometimes horses on high starch and grain diets actually reduce their appetite. So the owner then is left with trying to feed more starch and high grain to get the weight on. And the addition of this B group vitamin can sometimes help that appetite to lift it a little bit as well. So do you need to supplement or not? Well, if you have a resting horse or a horse that's, light to moderate work, it has a fairly well balanced diet and it has access to green forage and pasture, then you're likely to be wasting your money on vitamin B supplementation unless you want to target one thing in particular just to see if it's going to help your horse. And when would you need to supplement? Well, when your horse is doing heavy work and hard training, it can help them work at their optimum. It's important to remember that adding B group vitamins is not going to make your horse stronger, fitter, last longer, jump higher, but it may help them in those high training situations get the best that they can be. If you're feeding poor quality hay, and as I've said in many videos, sometimes this is the case simply because you have a metabolic horse and you want to provide enough fiber in the diet, but you're trying to reduce the sugars and starch, so you feed a lesser quality hay. In those instances as well, because they often don't have access to pasture, a vitamin B supplement is warranted. Any diet that's high in cereal and low in fibre and forage may also need a supplement. If your horse has been on a reasonably long-term antibiotic or a big course of broad-spectrum antibiotics, then they target as well the bacteria that are these industrious bacteria making the vitamin B. So if your horse has had some antibiotics, sometimes it's worth supplementing these B group vitamins post-antibiotic treatment. Sometimes absorption of nutrients is compromised in the horse. For example, an older horse or even a horse that has chronic diarrhea, they're not absorbing their nutrients quite as well and they could be a little compromised. So B group vitamins for these horses could also be warranted. A couple of good take homes. Brewer's yeast is a very good vitamin B supplement, but there are a lot of more direct and well manufactured vitamin B supplements as well. But a supplement that contains all of the vitamin Bs should have some kind of coating on that supplement, because if you feed all the vitamin Bs at once, they kind of contraindicate each other and sometimes can interfere with the absorption of the other vitamin B. So, an all round B complex could be a bit useless if it's not produced with good coatings on it. And that's why often we see specific vitamin B in with another mineral or vitamin supplement. Hopefully, this has helped you work out what these vitamin Bs are about and whether your horse needs some, or whether you're even just wasting your money by providing them to your horse. If you're looking for the calming effect, hey, give it a go. But if it's not working, just stop it, because obviously those B group vitamins are already at a decent level for your horse if it's not making any difference at all. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and that way you'll just get notified when I put out next week's video. Make sure you share the video around so lots of people get to see it. And also, if you have any comments or questions, please pop them in the comments in the YouTube section below. Thanks, and I'll see you at next week's video.